Naturally, every club in the competition wants to nail their draft haul, but I've got 6 clubs in mind that need to if they want to build a future of success. Let's have a chat. Alrighty, before we get stuck into the content, as always, I'm Daz, I talk footy, hence the channel name, and I would love if we could get to 100 subscribers, triple figures by Christmas, which would be great. Off-season content is coming thick and fast. I'm currently in a very bare-looking office because I am moving house and still trying to get content out there, so subscribe would be great. Also, drop a like for the algorithm so more people can see it, more people can enjoy it, more people can subscribe. It's a beautiful little snowball that we've got going on here, but with all that shit out of the way, the reason why I wanted to do this video is looking at everyone's draft hands going into draft night, well, technically nights, is that every single club wants to build success. We obviously know that. And the draft is a beautiful way to do that, even with free agency and all these things. Now, if we're being honest, the free agency and trade period were genuine dog shit this year. And we're now looking forward to the next generation of kids that are coming through. And like I said in the intro, 18 clubs want to nail their draft haul, but there are 6 teams that can genuinely build a path to success if they nail their draft haul. Now, this isn't a rating from 6 to 1 or anything like that. I'm going to do these teams in alphabetical order, and I don't think any of them are a number 1 or a number 2 or anything like that. These are just the 6 clubs, their picks, and how I think they can build their success. So let's get stuck into it. First cab off the rank is going to be Fremantle, and Fremantle's draft haul is, as you can see in front of you, and it's those first 3 picks that we need to look at, the 6, the 8, and the 19. Now, success at Freo needs to happen like I need a barber, extremely damn quickly, because what's going on hasn't really been the best, as you can see. Now, Freo 6, 8, 19 are in a really sort of delicate situation because not only do they need to get 1 right, they probably need to get all 3 right, but getting all 3 right isn't about getting the best kid, it's about filling their hole. Now, I've already got a video on my Freo needed to keep pick 6 and pick 8, and if you haven't checked that out already, please do. So this is going to be the shortest summary of them all, but Freo at 6, 8 or 19 need to pick a tall forward. I believe they need to take Jai Miss at either 6 or 8 and gamble on the fact that Richmond at pick 7 won't take Jai Miss if they want to get him at 8, but I think taking him at 6 makes the most perfect sense. I think pick 8 needs to be spent on either a midfielder or Josh Rochelle as a forward, and 19 just needs to be a midfielder, full stop. The replacement for Adam Chera, if you want to go down a Josh Goda or Matthew Johnson type of route, if either of those boys are still there, or do you take the midfielder at 9 and do something else at 19? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. If Wanganeen Miller is still at 18, at 19, then perhaps they could go down that path. It'd be a really cool way to go if they wanted that outside speed, which they desperately need. But taking a tall forward in the top 10 picks is absolutely crucial because it really is what they're missing. And if you want further thoughts, I've already got a video on that, so check that one out. And like a fat guy at a buffet, we need to move on to the seconds, and that is Geelong. With 5 picks inside the top 50, Geelong are drafting their next generation. As we know, Geelong is basically the pension home of the AFL, and any other old jokes that you can make do apply to the boys at Cardinia Park. Now, given the fact that they don't have any high draft picks, may or may not be a problem because 5 in the top 50 is still pretty good. The Cats need to bring in players that are going to fill holes after their oldies have gone. Now, you'd think maybe Geelong's first pick might be at a Jacob Van Ruin or a Jack Williams, someone that will look after Tomahawk once he goes, but you're looking at guys to replace the likes of Selwood and all these guys, which is just ridiculous pressure to put on a youngster, but it's not about being as good as Joel Selwood, it's being able to fill that role. So they're going to look at more midfield types, and I still think they need to go after a key back as well. With Lockie Henderson gone, Mark Blitzarves is I think 30, and they're going to need one to fill that in, and maybe Rhett Bazzo from WA is going to be one that they're going to look at. But the Cats are needing to draft 4 guys that will not be at the club in the next 2 years, and they need to retain all of them, if not at least the first 4. For more than 2 years. Letting Charlie Constable go, they've delisted him. Letting go of Jordan Clark to Fremantle. Oscar Brownless is gone. Nathan Kruger is gone. So letting go of youngsters, I understand they want to roll the dice and win a flag, but the cliff is coming. And they're putting it off year after year after year, which credit to them. But if it's not winning flags, they're not getting the job done. Geelong could be the worst team in the competition in 2 years if they don't fix this, and they need to start fixing it now. Now, I find it really hard to believe that Sam Mitchell was personally on the phone to coaches trying to shop off Hawthorn players, but the trade period's done. The media will bash the Hawks for as long as they want to, but yeah, Hawthorn really need to get their first 3 picks right. They really need to get their first 3 picks right. Now, Denver Granger Barras came in as pick 6 last year, and he looks a talent. Will Day at pick 13 the year before also looks like a genuine star. But yeah, 5, 21, and 24 are going to be huge. Now, what do they do with those picks is going to be interesting. Hawthorn were really desperate to get up to GWS's pick 2 in order to take Finn Callaghan, so that will probably be in the Giants' minds when they're tossing up between Callaghan and Mac Andrew on who they want to take, because Callaghan will not get past Gold Coast or Adelaide and be there at pick 5, which means they probably take Josh Ward. Now, it's really interesting to see what they do at 21 and 24. There were some talks that they might go after a ruckman, but with getting Max Lynch alongside Reeves and Big Boy McAvoy, that's probably not going to happen now. So 21 and 24, one of them still needs to be a midfielder in my opinion, and because Hawthorn have a gluttony of defenders, one of them is going to be a forward. Now, Jesse Motlop looks like the player that's being looked at the most. I feel like Judson Clark, even though he'd be a reach, if you look at power rankings, would still be a good go as a Victorian boy and would be a really good pick. And 21, I'm hoping for their sake that a guy like Josh Goda or Matthew Johnson does fall to this point. If not, they might be a little bit stuck. Maybe Matty Roberts does a slide and ends up at 21, but they probably have enough of him anyway. Does a Hugh Jackson make a big leap and get to 21? We'll never know. Do they take the punt on Zach Taylor, who may be a little bit undersized but is an elite kick? I'm not 100% sure. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, these 3 picks are the most important in Hawthorn's history since 2004 when they got Ruffy, Buddy and Lewis. Now, I've already done a video on why North were taking offers on pick 1 and whether they should or shouldn't do that. So if you haven't checked that video out, I mean, you still can. Is it as relevant now? Perhaps not, but I'm still really proud of the video, so check that out. And hey, we don't know what's going to happen on draft night, whether they keep that pick 1. Who knows? Now, what's interesting from my point of view here isn't actually pick 1 anymore, it's pick 20. Now, getting Callum Coleman-Jones probably means they're not going to target a second tall forward to help out Nick Larkey, because CCJ is going to do that while Todd Goldstein is still at North, so cool. The thing at 20 is they need to take Robbie Tarrant's replacement. They just do. Stop taking midfielders North. Now, they took Will Phillips last year, who looks like a gun, and he's a really good leader according to sources at the club. So, tick there, because we don't know if he's a bust or not. He's looked pretty good so far. He's been fine. No knocks from me. Other North fans, you can let me know if you think he's gone to shit, but I have no problems with Will Phillips right now. Yeah, pick 20. So, do they take Jacob Van Ruin and turn him into a defender? Rhett Bazzo? They need to do something, but it needs to be a key back. I feel like if North don't take a key back in this spot, they're going to be probably a loser from draft night, and I will do a draft-themed video. I've got a really cool concept in mind, so stick around for that. But pick 20 from North is going to be really big, and Jason Horne-Francis and who they take at pick 20 is going to help them springboard into their next generation and their new wave of success, maybe, depending on if David Noble can get their side over the line. But North are really interesting for mine, and if they bugger this up, they're going to be set back for such a long time. Imagine going through half a decade and 60% of the success went to your team. Be pretty good, right? That's how Richmond fans feel. How I feel knowing that they have this draft hand is not good. I'm not a Richmond fan, just in case you haven't figured that out yet. I'm not. But that is messed up, that is their draft haul. Now, do they need to get every single pick right? You'd argue not really, but they also do need to accept that these picks need to go towards players that are going to replace some stars. Their over 30s list is on the wrong side of that 30 mark, so someone to replace Jack, of the Rewalt variety, of course. Cochin isn't that far from done, and they do need to look at midfield depth for when Dusty goes, even though Jack Ross and Riley Collier-Dawkins have looked the talent. When you've got that many picks, Richmond have clearly looked to move up in the draft, and they've got the capital to do it, but it's not like they're going to make massive moves inside the top 40 because they've got all those picks anyway. So how far up are they really going to go? It doesn't seem like they can. So how are they going to bring in all these kids? Richmond are one of the most fascinating teams on a draft night I've seen in a long, long time. And whilst I don't think this is the haul they're going to go into the actual draft with, I don't think these are the picks that they're going to come out with, sorry is what I meant to say, they're still really fascinating, and I cannot wait to see what they do. And what they will do is hopefully for their case, just for their case, I'm sure for opposing fans we hope they fail, but for their case, they need to build the next generation because they have a golden opportunity here to not let the dynasty die like Brisbane and Hawthorn before them. And last but certainly not least, for all of the jokes that Geelong make, at least they're giving themselves the best chance to succeed. Now, unfortunately, their best chance, as in unfortunately for them, their best chance is still coming up short. But what about an ageing list that went nowhere this year? And that's West Coast. Now, I can already hear the commenters typing furiously away saying, Daz, injuries, mate, they're a real thing. And I'd say, yeah, so's depth, which is what you need to draft for this year, which hopefully you will. That's what the draft is for, and fingers crossed that you can, because there's not a lot of kids under the age of 25 that give a lot of hope, and getting into the comments and naming one or potentially two isn't really the point. But fingers crossed, with early picks, or the picks that they've got, is going to produce that. This isn't West Coast bashing, that's not what I'm doing here, but West Coast fans need to be honest with yourselves. You need kids. Josh Kennedy's still weighing up his future. Shuey, Yo, although they're not old, still holes that are going to need to be filled. Jeremy McGovern's not the youngest guy in the world, so there are players that are going to need to be there. There needs to be a long-term plan and a big picture put in place, and that needs to start in this draft. And if you don't think that from a West Coast point of view, then I'm sorry, you're just wrong. That sounds really arrogant of me, but that's the way it works. The Geelong can't expect the cliff not to come, and for West Coast, that cliff might already be here. And if it's not, it's going to be there next year if things don't go to plan. So start now. Why not start now is what you have to ask yourself. So those are my 6 teams that I believe need to nail their draft haul in order to build a successful path in the short term for the long term. What do you guys think? Are there teams that I missed out on? There is one team that I expect everyone to comment, and maybe I'll do a video on why I didn't pick them. But let me know, comment below, like, subscribe, all that good shit, and I'll talk to you later. See ya, ciao, goodbye.